Let me come to you, Professor Gordon Adomdza. Coming from academia, most of the time we do hear of, industry academia skills gap. There's most of the time mismatch. So we do train, graduates all right, but they don't seem to meet industry expectations. Now, coming from your side and the kind of exposure that you have had, can you share with us the role that academia needs to play in developing and maintaining quality standards for skills development so that in a way we're able to match what industry expects of us?
Right. Thank you very much for that question. Yeah, so it is true. I think it was a TVET speaker who was talking about the gap between um, what industry needs and how university students need to be retrained when they graduate. And it is also the case that industry should be leading what we teach in the classroom, right? Or informing or demanding what we teach in the classroom. And if that was the case and we were responding appropriately, then the gap, I think, would be a bit more reduced. But the key challenge here is that in academia, we have these structures for developing our syllabus, which some people blame on our colonial legacy of training students for bureaucracy or bureaucratic administration. And even though our colonial masters have moved on, we're still holding on to the old frames. And we're not responding appropriately to how industry is changing. I also, even though I'm a Social Enterprise Ghana board member, I'm also an associate professor of entrepreneurship at Ashesi University. So I can give some examples from there. What we realize is that we need to train our students differently. So we focus highly on critical thinking. We teach entrepreneurship and design thinking to all of our students. It's mandatory. It is compulsory. It doesn't matter what discipline you're from or what major you're from. What we realize, the impact of teaching entrepreneurship is through the process, through project work. So it doesn't have to be entrepreneurship, but I think if you do a lot of project, if you teach a lot of project work, what it does is that, number one, it helps the students understand how to work in a team. That's one. Two, it helps them be more proactive and look for answers to problems and questions that they face. And the reason why I'm mentioning these two is that we did some research. We're a Pan-African campus, and so we have students from 20 African countries also. So we did some research to understand the impact of our experiential education on our students. And when we spoke to a lot of the engineering graduates in other countries, in Kenya, Rwanda, and so forth, they kept referring to soft skills, the soft skills that they learn, soft skills. And we're thinking, well, we haven't taught you soft skills. And then we realized that it was connected to the project works that they did. So as engineering students, by being in projects, being in teams with their colleagues, working on entrepreneurial projects, they learned soft skills. And that's what differentiated them from their colleague engineers. So we've realized that, our placement rate is 98% or something like that. Of course, we are a small school, but we've realized that, industry is attracted to our students probably because by the time they graduate, they would have done 4 years of project work, which in many ways is like they have that much experience working with other people. So when they get into industry, it's so easy. They've done it before, they've been there, they've practiced it, they know how to present, they know how to conduct research. So I think, to your question of it will be the question of how do you standardize that? How do you standardize project work? How do you standardize, research? How do you standardize presentations and so forth? Very quickly, I'm saying this because, I went to University of Ghana. I did project work in my third year. And at Ashesi, we start them in the second week. Right? So how do we standardize those kinds of approaches so that they can be more industry centric, if you will?
Yeah, thank you very